A woman sits on the edge of a well out in the Palestinian desert, dusty, sweaty, baking in the sun, all alone. Here she is, drawing water in the hottest part of the day when nobody in their right mind would come out to get water when it's so hot. In the scorching sun, no one to help her, no one to talk to. Her whole world just seems like it's a waste. What had happened to her life? Her first husband had been so full of energy and excitement. They'd had a big wedding, but 3 months later, he decided she wasn't pretty enough, so he divorced her. And then she married again with high hopes, and they kept trying, but she could never have a child. So he got rid of her. 3 more times she tried, and never a child, and everyone realized she was barren, childless. So what good was she to a husband? She could offer no children in a world where your heirs were all that mattered. And now she was stuck serving that awful man, drawing his water in the middle of the day when no one to help him. And she didn't even have the benefit of marriage with him. None of it was really her fault. But what else was she supposed to do? She's a divorced, childless, barren woman in a culture where women must bear children. She's an outcast, shunned by everyone, used goods. She was worth nothing to nobody. So she reaches down, takes a sip of water from her gourd in the well, and a tear runs down her cheek. You know, we're all like this at times. Alone, devastated, with no hope, on a cot in a shelter, stuck in the 4 walls in our small rooms or at a dusty, dry well with only a sip of water to soothe us. And it's warm water at that. And all we can do is weep quietly. But then a strange man appears. He comes up to the woman weeping at the well and he says, "Hello, give me some water." She's frightened. She can see he's a Jew, properly clothed and shaved in the right way. What does he think he's doing talking to her? She's a Samaritan woman. She's unclean to the Jews. And she's multi-times divorced. Absolutely unthinkable. No man should talk to her, much less a Jew. This should not be happening. What kind of trick was this? So she averts her gaze. But she does offer him the gourd to get some water. She's trying to help. And she glances up and she sees his face. And there she sees kindness and love. Through her pain and her tears, she looks at him and she almost smiles. And then he takes her hand and he says something to her about something called living water. Right. Really? Her old cynical, skeptical self raises its ugly head. What the heck is living water? Her life's not worth living. This water from this well is dirty and warm, but it's all she has. It's certainly not living water. Living water, sure. That'd be great right now, but there's no such thing, at least not for her, not in this bleak situation. But he keeps talking. And as she listens to him, she slowly begins to realize that this man is special. The way he talks, the kindness in his eyes, the spirit that shines through him, the hope and encouragement he brings. He does seem to give a kind of living water that he promises. Could he really help her? Could he be her savior? Could he be the Messiah? The long promised savior so badly needed in her ruined life? She sits on the well, no longer alone. She sits with the Holy One, and he dries her tears. Sitting beside the well in the heat of the day, outcast and alone, with no hope, sitting on a cot in an evacuation center as our home burns to the ground, alone with all that's lost, or sitting here on the couch in these four walls in our living rooms for 6 months as the world falls apart. Our lives have become unraveled, hopeless, depressing, and we can't do anything about it. We can't stop the fire coming down that hill in Santa Rosa. We can't rid the world of the virus. We cannot magically get rid of institutional racism, and we cannot change the way the world treats women. It does seem hopeless.